Yo, what's going on, YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy, Kevin Forte, and we have to take a look today at the Florida Panthers. The Florida Panthers are going off this season. They are, quote unquote, all in mode. So, what does that mean for the Florida Panthers in their 2022 Cup aspirations? Yes, we will go over that today. So there's something different in the water in Florida this season. I don't know if in South Beach something's different because the Florida Panthers right now have made some interesting moves this year. And what's interesting is they have 3 players in the top 5 of a draft a couple years back. I'll let you guys see if you could figure that out. I'll give you a hint. Sam Reinhart is one of those guys. The first story is Mason Marchment. What a story for Mason Marchment. He was actually one of the stars of the month. He has really been incredible. He's on a 6-point game, which happened last week. He now has 23 points in 21 games this season. And remember, back in February of 2020, he was traded from the Toronto Maple Leafs for Dennis Malgin. So 2 years ago, pretty much to the month, 24 months ago, he was traded for, and no discredit to Dennis Malgin, Mason Marchment has been really, really good. And he's finally becoming what they hoped. And this was actually from NHL Discussion. The Panthers have become experts at turning fringe players into point-per-game producers. And you look at Mason Marchment's career, it's really been incredible. He was a member of the Toronto Marlies system. He's really been in Ontario for a very long time. He was with the Cobourg Cougars before he was drafted, went to the Erie Otters, the Hamilton Bulldogs, the Mississauga Steelheads. He went to the Toronto Marlies from the 2015 season up until 2020, where he ended up getting traded to Florida with the Springfield Thunderbirds. And he finally got a shot in the NHL. And the past 2 seasons have been really a great story. So last season he got 10 points in 33 games. That's good. But he's right now got 23 points in 21 games with the Florida Panthers. That is just incredible. You really enjoy hearing stories like this. He's making $800K this season. He will be a UFA this summer. And if the Florida Panthers don't pay him, you know somebody out there will. Wow. What a great story from the kid from Uxbridge, Ontario. Really nice to see that for Mason Marchment. So then we start to get to some of the trade rumors. And in order to go in all-in mode, you have to be willing to give up assets. And exactly what assets are the Florida Panthers willing to give this year? So this is from Jeff Merrick from the 32 Thoughts podcast. The Florida Panthers are all in mode. That's where I got that from. They're in a lot of trade rumors, and a name that is coming up consistently, which they put out as being available, is Owen Tippett. So what's interesting with that point is Owen Tippett is a former first-round pick of the Florida Panthers, and fittingly enough, he played in the OHL with the Mississauga Steelheads. Owen Tippett is a guy that was drafted in the first round, and a guy that is projected to be a top 6 forward in the NHL. Yeah, he was born in Peterborough, Ontario, played with the Mississauga Steelheads. Perfect. I got it on the dot. He's 22 years old and was the 10th overall selection in the 2017 NHL entry draft. So Owen Tippett has gotten a little bit of NHL experience as well. He's been in the NHL for 3 seasons, more fittingly the last 2 years. Last year he played 45 games with the big club with the Panthers, picked up 18 points. That's not too bad for your first NHL season. And this season he really hasn't progressed necessarily. He's got 14 points in 41 games. So overall, he has 33 points in 93 games in the NHL. He is a restricted free agent this summer. He's making $863K. He's probably going to see a raise. He's probably going to see a 3-year bridge deal. That's what I'm expecting. Take him till he's 25. And that way a team can really figure out what Tippett is. But the Florida Panthers may have already made up their mind with Owen Tippett. They just brought in Sam Reinhart. They're probably keeping Jonathan Huberdeau. They're probably keeping Barkov. They're keeping all those guys. And they're probably looking at Tippett as, it's probably not going to work. And that's a shame, but that's the reality here. You know, there are other guys that the Panthers think are better than Owen Tippett. And instead of trying to develop him and make him into that, they just think there's just not enough room for him to do that. The Florida Panthers have already traded their first-round pick, their second-round pick this year. They've also traded their second-round pick in 2024. So the Florida Panthers have not been afraid to make those sorts of moves. And I'm actually looking at these three players right here. So you have Reinhart, Barkov, Huberdeau, Bennett, Duclair. You already have those guys kind of locked in, and it doesn't really make sense for them to add to that. And I think they're already sold on other guys that they have already locked up. You have Anton Lundell, 3 years of his entry-level deal. He could be a really good center. Carter Verhaeghe, you locked him up. He's making $1 million. Oh, $4 million. Damn. He's starting that deal this summer. So there just seems to be, and I think Mason Marchment and Owen Tippett will get moved. I think the Florida Panthers see other guys as just, they've already taken those spots, and the Florida Panthers can rebuild their middle six, bottom six this summer. And this is also from Elliot Friedman. The forward Frank Vatrano could be another trade chip for the Panthers at the deadline. Again, he is another pending UFA. Owen Tippett, who is an RFA. I think the Florida Panthers realize they don't have the money to keep these guys around. And if they do bring in a bigger name player, say a JT Miller, I'm just throwing that name out there, but if they throw out in a guy like JT Miller, they're willing to trade another draft pick and some of these other guys as depth to get that deal done, which, again, you don't necessarily need these players if those guys come in necessarily, right? That's the whole point. You're trading out a Vatrano or a Tippett to get a better player for right now. And that's what the Florida Panthers are looking at, as some of their big contracts are coming into effect this season or next season. They want to try and cash in this year. So it definitely makes sense. And you look at where the Florida Panthers sit. They're one of the big three teams right now in the Atlantic Division. It's the Tampa Bay Lightning, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and your Florida Panthers, who currently lead the Atlantic Division with 69 points through 47 games this season. So that is kind of the sentiment for the Florida Panthers. They have to find teams that want to acquire Frank Vatrano and Owen Tippett. And quite honestly, you're probably going to have to find a team that is a seller, that has a little bit of money to play with, that could maybe add that type of player. Now, some teams that could be of interest, again, I'm not maybe looking at players, but the kind of team you're looking at, probably the Buffalo Sabres or the New Jersey Devils, who have the salary to bring those guys in, have spots in the top six for a Tippett or a Vatrano to thrive. I think those would be some of the kind of teams you would be looking at. So, guys, that is it for today's video. If you like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, and more videos just like this one, you guys know what to do. Make sure to give this video a big thumbs up and an even bigger subscribe down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching this video, and let's go Panthers.